thorough pace, premium racing analytics, allowing bettors to identify races with extreme pace scenarios in a matter of seconds. Capital OTB's mobile wagering platform. Bet any place, anytime with Capital OTB's mobile wagering platform. And CapitalOTBBet.com, the premier wagering site in New York State.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Happy September. To echo a sentiment that I just heard recently, it's more glorious out today than yesterday. It's remarkably great.
Too cool for me.
Okay.
I said on the way in, I looked at I got in the car and I'm trying, as has been the case. The sun's out, roll down the windows. I got a half mile down the road. I'm like, wow, it's a little chilly for the
now,
windows.
do you do the?
I look at the thermometer; it's 56.
Now, do you keep the windows rolled down and turn on the heater? Because I am that person.
Cool. It wasn't quite that cool.
I like fresh air very much. Well, today was my day. I was up here before 6. I went over to Oklahoma. Can't do it like I used to because I'm tired. I'll probably have to have a late afternoon nap. My Friday evening plans have been scrapped, but I just came up early in the morning. I like to do it earlier because there's more action. It's very quiet now. Oh. Very, very quiet. But you're not a coffee guy either, are you? I'm not a coffee guy. So it was birch beer, which is one of my favorite, hard to find. And just spent the morning, got over here almost before the crew did. And they're like, I said, and I had a sweatshirt and everything wearing. And I go, I'm not wearing this on TV. I said, but I like to come up early in the morning. Anthony, I, and Denise spent the day yesterday over there. And at about 5 o'clock, Seth, probably I don't know that I have any other professional goals, but we beat the meat with 4 days to go. I don't think I can ever remember hearing anybody. Remember I told you I had pushed it almost to Monday, and unless they write 13 races for Monday,
we're still on the cusp if it's a 13 race.
If it's a 13 race card, I don't think they're going to do that to us. Yeah. That's not so. Out for the meet, and I cannot. And now, obviously, I'm trying to drag last year's last week, which was torture, across the line and have a 2-year. But with 4 days out, I am. What I put. I am $86 ahead, so they would need to run 13 on Monday to get it.
And that's with a whiff. That's
a complete whiff. No, I mean yesterday was because I said yesterday we talked about this, and yesterday I beat the day. Yesterday, I think I came home about 22:10. About who says about 22:10? But we're back to a 3-game lead in the TU. Boss Man is up next. You have the weekend. He could close the door for you.
Oh, 4 with 3 to go. Yeah.
Yes. So we're up 3. Our team, because I'm 3 days, Boss Man's 1, and Mike is 5th day. He's actually the first day, Wednesday. We're over 800, and it's cracked that barrier. So it's been the greatest meet I've ever had. I mean, and it's so funny listening to you talk about yesterday, where the tide seems to be angst. And mine's like, no way. This is the greatest thing.
You have to remember, though, you're doing it every day. People I run into on the front side maybe coming 2 days a week or the weekend. And if you're sitting home and you're handicapping and you got a horse you really like in tomorrow's turf race and you show up here for your 1 day at the track that week and it's off the turf and your favorite horse scratched, those are the kind of people I'm meeting. I mean, most people just aren't here every day, and so it's been rough if you've been picking your spot. If you've had that 1 or 2 days and it wound up, half of them that was off the turf, so it's a little bit of a different animal for a lot of people.
I guess I've only really like 3 horses so far at the meet, so it's okay. And one of them was because of the wet weather with Leslie's Loot. I'm like, this, if she doesn't win today, she's never winning with that early speed. But it looks like the ROI is going to be about 224. The person who I suspect will probably be named the winning public handicappers at about $1.43. So there's he's lost about $210 and we've won about $86. But A rose by any other name would smell as sweet, but I don't know what to say. I never thought I would be in this position. I thought if you beat the meat, you beat it on the last 2 days. I've never heard anybody walking in with 4 days left to go. Because as you said, just like at Del Mar, and we ran second last night. It's like, I am not playing for singles here, folks. We are here to like crush it. I'm like, it's just, that's it. And I thought yesterday was a wonderful day. The Philly beat the boys.
Yeah, I liked her. I would say going maybe into the far turn, I wasn't quite as convinced. But then when she unleashed in the stretch, a great move by Bill Mott, cross-entering in the Philly race the day before. That one winds up off the turf. He winds up in what might have been a lesser talented field against the boys. And she looked good, I thought, yesterday. Gala brand we're speaking about in the with anticipation. And again, you wound up with $7.80 because the betting public, second choice, I think, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
So the betting public also had a little bit
I think
of
the top 3
confidence.
choices were in the trifecta. I think the favorite ran
I
second,
think you're right.
and my top pick ran third. I will say this, watching the race and being Anthony and Denise both enjoy the stretch, and I enjoy it. One thing I really enjoy is on you get perhaps the best view of the action on the turn. You don't see the finish, but you just look up at a monitor. But on the turn, I turned to a fellow better, and he was kind of like dismayed. And I said, well, because of the fractions, remember the rails are down. I believe the fractions more. Because of the fractions, they turned it into a 4.5 furlong sprint, and the best sprinter won.
Yeah.
I mean, they gave her game, and if you look at the polls out there, the inner turf are the sky blue ones with the red. Well, at the 5/16 poll, she hadn't done any running yet, and she just decided, and the reason I bring that up is she won the 5.5 furlong turf sprint.
That was the question mark.
I think they made her work
out?
easy.
Yeah.
They blew it by going what? I'm just using general terms, 25 and 50 were the opening quarter and half. So you let her stick around, and then she outkicked you.
Yeah, it was definitely a nice performance, and as I say, it was a nice move, kind of cross-centering. And if you're a trainer, I'm sure you're kind of, is this the right move? And so to get validated after that had to be a good feeling, and she looked very good yesterday, getting it done. Don't forget, coming up this weekend, we have great stakes racing here, Jockey Club Gold Cup, but Pacific Classic out at Del Mar. Going to be a little bit interesting. Arabian, or is it Arabian Lion or Arabian Night?
Arabian Lion.
I think I have it here.
Morning line favorite, outside post position.
And Defunded is in there. Stiletto Boy. Go Rocket Ride is going to be the interesting one, coming out of the win in the Haskell. Can he put a couple of nice efforts together and beat older horses? Because then he kind of steps into the scene for the 3-year-old conversation. Senior Buscador is interesting to me. Todd Fincher, who I think is now making a little bit of a name for himself, moving out of, he was a guy down in the Southwest that was doing very well down in some of those tracks. But it seems like this winter, I think, was probably the first time he seemed to venture out, had some Oaklawn runners and runners at other venues as well. But Senior Buscador comes out of the win in the San Diego, the prep for the Pacific Classic, and also at Churchill, or Kentucky. Now it's not Churchill. A couple of $1 million up for grabs in the Mint Millions. Tone is in there. Hoosier, obviously going to take a lot of action. Annapolis in there as well. Churchtown is maybe a little bit interesting, but a field of 12 lining up in the feature tomorrow at Kentucky Downs for $2 million.
I think yesterday was the 25th anniversary of Mike Smith's awful spill here. And Roberto Ospoli, a ugly accident at Del Mar on his birthday. But on Twitter, he seems to have movement in his extremities. I think he stayed overnight for observations, but awful birthday present.
It looked like the horse.
He got stepped on.
Yeah, but then he proceeded to roll under the rail. So, but yeah, it was a scary looking situation out at Del Mar yesterday. So again, hope for the best for him.
It seems like the best has happened. So he'll miss maybe a day or two of racing. And I will just say this to folks who've been following me at Del Mar. I may have wanted to choose the Pacific Classic, but it's too deep into the night. I like to find something. My first wish is that it's something near the end of Saratoga, so I know we capture a larger audience, but it is a great card out there tomorrow.
Yeah, there's no question about it. As I say, with Kentucky Downs, you have a lot of nice stakes action, including up here with the Jockey Club Gold Cup. Let me hit you with some promos and events. First, don't forget up here, there is the tote bag giveaway today, so keep that in mind. At the track, last giveaway of the season, other than Sunday.
Even on Naira's thing on Twitter, they keep saying the last giveaway. Seth, I think you're the only one that knows they're giving out something. So their Twitter person.
It's the last, I guess, official giveaway, though, but
pretty official that they're going to be giving out their product.
Yeah, but it's something they've already given away. Technically speaking, there's
another
right.
giveaway.
I just corrected myself because there is another giveaway on Sunday. They have some of the cooler jugs left, and they're giving those on the way out on Sunday, starting at 4:00. But today, they'll give away the tote bag. As far as Capital OTB, yes, we have turned the page officially to the September calendar. Today, Clubhouse Racebook Trifecta Challenge. Stop on down and have a little fun with that. Today, also, the Bounty Bet returns. So play the late pick 5 at capitalotbbet.com for your shot at the Bounty. Also today at about noontime, the show pool, the last Sunday show pool will open for entries. That'll be about noontime at capitalotb.com. Tomorrow, $100 play the board contest down at the Clubhouse Racebook. So again, a little fun on Saturday at the Racebook, and Sunday it is the double promo day, match bet and exacta board Sunday down at the Clubhouse Racebook, 711 Central Avenue in Albany.
It's the weekend, right? Friday, Saturday is the Brooklyn Cowboy and the DePaula Chevrolet play of the day on a gorgeous Friday morning.
When you think trucks, think DePaula. Then come join the family for value. Just visit, call, or click.
This week's Chevy Silverado is just $539 a month with zero due at inception. Yes, zero down.
So come join the family and think DePaula for all your automotive needs.
Hello, everybody. Kevin Cox, the Brooklyn Cowboy, here with your DePaula Play of the Day from beautiful Saratoga Race Course. We've been giving you our plays of the day on Fridays and Saturdays throughout the meet and basing our success on a 50 to win, 30 to place, 20 to show wager. And with 2 picks left in the meet, we aim to finish strongly. Our play of the day today will be in race number 2, number 8, My Main Squeeze. This maker runner outran her 12-1 offering when showing right out of the box 3 weeks ago and did it despite being a little bit green at the onset. Blinkers are now a part of the makeup in an effort to have this one more focused at the start. And there's appreciable improvement in the saddle this afternoon as Tyler Gaffalione, who was shuttling between here and Kentucky Downs, now takes over. The 390 Tomlinson figure tells us there's ample room for improvement, and we see 7-2 as a very generous offering in a race with no standouts. So once again, our DePaula play of the day will be in race number 2, number 8, My Main Squeeze. We'll see you tomorrow with our final play of the meet, and we'll see you at the track.
When you think trucks, think DePaula.
The all-new 2024 Chevy Trax is here. Bigger, roomier, seats 5, and lots of technology. And just $449 a month, zero down.
So come join the family and think DePaula for all your automotive needs.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. And I said it yesterday, and the Morminos, they beat me up here. I was still doing some work. I think I saw 6 races of the track yesterday. It was gorgeous. It was really gorgeous. I recommend coming up. I mean, it was so. I have to say this. I mean, I know it will sound bad in some circles. It was so uncrowded yesterday. I mean, there was like nobody anywhere. I mean, and for some, that's a good thing. 2-year-olds, maiden special weights, 5.5 on the turf.
I have 4, 5, 2, and 3. Sanderson is my dark horse play of the day, so I'll touch on that in a little bit. Hard Par, a Delphi Racing Club owned horse, and with a group of others. but I'm going to have Matt Kater on with me a little bit later from Adelphi Racing. We'll talk maybe a little bit about hard par, but this one looked pretty good, I thought, in debut, running a decent little second for Ray Handel. I'm going to look for this one to benefit from that and run well this afternoon. First-time starter that was sold for a lot of money over in Europe. Irish Gent going out first time for Todd Pletcher could be interesting on that angle. It seems like over the past few years, these European auction purchases have come over here and made a little bit of noise that has been intriguing. So for me, 4, 5, 2, and 3.
Always seems to be about $8,000 missing when I do the math here. I would love to find out why those numbers don't jive. 635, I know it's turf, but I'm taking an Omaha Beach, who I thought on debut was fine. We draw a better post position today for the second start. Joe Mazzara, I think he was at Kentucky Downs yesterday. They are off today, right? So they're running Saturday, I think.
I think you're right.
So these guys are obviously getting frequent flyer miles, and when you see the purses, you can understand why. Christophe Clements had a great meet. He sends out Reverend Moon, my top pick, for second. Son of a Ship. Mike Maker's runner comes out of a stakes race down in Louisiana. And for third, hard par, Seth has for second. I have for third. To me, this is the thing that makes it difficult for me for hard par is this is a classic Seth less well angle. 31-1, just gets beat a neck. You're going to get about 1/6 the price coming back today. 635.
Race number 2 this afternoon. We're looking at state-bred maiden 2-year-old fillies going 3/4 mile.
482 for me. Muni Grab. I guess that's a play on Money Grab, which I think is hilarious. Horatio De Paz sends out this runner, and I'm trying to think. Boy, time flies. But it was about 3 weeks ago he got that W. But see, I didn't think of him having this rough of a meet. But I like this offspring of Munnings, who I think he's now clearly separated himself as the finest son of Spice Down. There was a while there where Central Banker was doing okay, and I forget the third one, but Munnings, top flight, 100,000 stands for. It makes the debut today. 5-1 on the morning line, and we're going to need to get that. The barn this is not what they do most well. It's not what they've been having a good meet, so get a price. My main squeeze, who you just saw, the Brooklyn Cowboys play of the day, adds blinkers for the second career start, gets a big jockey switch, and for third, another firster, perfectly and perfect. Jack Sisterson sends out the runner. And when I was over at Oklahoma this morning, Seth, I saw saddles that I didn't recognize, but I saw a big S. And I'm wondering I don't know where Jack Sisterson's barn is.
Go in and pull up the Thoroughfan Saddle Towel booklet. We have some spares in the.
Is that what that's for?
Yeah.
I've seen them for years.
That's exactly.
I've always wondered. It says what barn they're at.
It shows you what they wear when they work out.
They work their horses.
So you can bring it over to Oklahoma and highly recommend friends at Thoroughfan. They put out the Saddle Towel booklet every year. For me, 8, 4, 2, and 9. I just have yours juggled up, but I put my main squeeze on top. Ran third in debut, but has some win early siblings, including Looking for Trouble, fourth in debut, and then won the next start. Another sibling, Mama's Gold, fifth, seventh, won the third start. But Rodney was second in debut, then won the next 3 starts of the career. So we'll see if this one can live up to the older siblings. My main squeeze on top, then Money Grab in the second spot. Another one has some win early siblings. And again, I like Munnings as well as a sire, particularly of win early types. Another at this point, maybe a little bit later in the career, Sharp Azteca may float under the radar a little bit, but I think that is also a clever sire of win early type runners. So with Sharp Azteca on top, I thought Perfectly Imperfect was intriguing also. 8, 4, 2, and 9. On
to the third, 6 furlongs. On the dirt, state bred filly mares, optionals 45, 2X.
5, 3, 6, and 2. Fancy Joke on top. Plenty of early speed. Irod Ortiz hops on board. There's some other speed in here, though, so we'll see if this one, but I do note last time was kind of stalking a little bit, took the lead late before fading. So we'll see how it plays out. But I'll toss Fancy Joke into the mix. Cali Magic in the second slot. Hasn't been seen since June, but has won 2 of the last 3. And I think with the class move in for a tag this afternoon is going to be very playable. And Rebo's Valentine going out again for Delphi Racing. Also Blue Streak, a friend Tim McCoy, a partner in this also, and Ray Handel. This one gets to string a couple of starts together. Pretty good try last time, and I think now putting a couple together may move forward as well. So we'll put that one in the mix. 5, 3, 6, and 2. In
the same general vicinity. It was really just about price. I thought the 5 and 6 were very close in ability. You take a look at buyer speed figures, racing styles, etc. But you had 5-2 and you had 6-1. So for me, if it's not Thursday, Seth, I'm the 6-1 guy. I think I eked out 4-3 yesterday.
Okay.
I think so. But if I didn't pivot on Thursdays, that would not have been the case. But I can swing freely here. Reeboks Valentine, to me, I will be intrigued, Seth, how this race is run with Irad on Fancy Joke, Katie Davis, because I think you're getting the jump on me. I have the stalking position, but I think you're going to be in front of me. And to be honest with you, I sort of hope that. I want the stalking position here. Silver Fist is going to be going. Fancy Joke, I hope, goes before me. And then I have Security Code. But it's a very intriguing race the way it's going to be run. I don't think it's intriguing betting. I think David Aragona's hit it on the head. But you'd be very interested to see how the 4, 5, 6 come out of there. And yesterday, I have to say that the horse who put it away to me, I think it was Javier aboard. What, Chicabella? Is that Javier? About the 7th race.
Oh, right. Yeah, it was Javier.
You know, I'm not saying the racetrack got him home the last 2 days, but boy, he used so much energy early. 1 mile race, right? And he wanted to lead. Then it became a duel. And I just turned to my wife and said, well, you're committed now. You can't back up. And he didn't. And I was shocked that he ran down the lane in front of me. So 6, 5, 2, as I mentioned for me. Now time for it is getting dark around here, Seth. The dark horse play of the day.
Dark horse play of the day, as I mentioned earlier, race number 1 today. Maiden specials 5.5 on the grass. And I said I had Sanderson on top. Sanderson, to me, little win early breeding on top. Again, one of those win early sires I like quite a bit is Collected, but you have some win early on the bottom as well. The dam produced a sibling called Nighttime that won its career debut. Another sibling, Silent Surprise, that was took 2 starts to win. This horse was sold at OBS earlier this year after having worked a quick 10.1. So I think there are things to hang your hat on to think this horse could be a little bit interesting in debut. Does debut for Grand Motion, not necessarily known to have them ready first time out or turf sprinters, but this one's been working pretty steadily down a fair hill. And I would think with the win early breeding, I have a feeling the horse will be well met today in the career debut. And at 8-1 on the morning line, we'll take a little pop in the opener. Dark horse play of the day brought to you by the Dark Horse Mercantile in downtown Saratoga. Again, we have a few days left of the meet. If you're coming down, if you're here for a Friday of racing enjoyment, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, they're open late, so you can grab some dinner downtown and then stop by Dark Horse Mercantile, Impressions of Saratoga down the street, their sister store. Highly recommended, but don't forget, they're open after the season as well. But the Dark Horse play of the day today, race number 1, horse 4.
Take a quick break. When we come back, the middle, pick 4.
It only takes one upset to make history, and now you can be part of Saratoga's long tradition at the Dark Horse Mercantile. The Dark Horse Mercantile offers a carefully curated selection of clothing, gifts, and home decor, from one-of-a-kind vintage racing memorabilia to select brands like Barber and Under Armour, as well as exclusive Dark Horse branded merchandise. So celebrate the Dark Horse in all of us at the Dark Horse Mercantile, downtown Saratoga, where the smart bet is always the Dark Horse.
For more than 4 generations, Bruce Cerrone and his family have continued the 101-year tradition of delighting their local following and faithful summer crowd with the finest authentic Italian recipes. Classic Italian dishes made with the freshest ingredients, served in a home-like setting. Some things have changed in the last 101 years, but not Pinnell's commitment to the finest in Italian cuisine. Pinnell's Italian Restaurant, a Saratoga tradition since 1922. 284 Jefferson Street, just minutes from the track.
Capital OTB is now streaming live on Roku. The RTN Racing channel on Roku lets you watch OTB TV live through your Roku device or your Amazon Fire Stick, rather than being limited to computers and mobile devices, which means you can now watch OTB live wherever you are. Simply open Roku, scroll to find the RTN channel, then click on OTB TV. OTB TV on Roku. Try it now.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Time for the Saranac, and they don't put it in here anymore, Seth, but if I took a guess, your turn.
I wouldn't have said anything, but you called me a few days ago when I missed my
You
turn.
should. I was just my bad.
But I'm even. You're on.
Yes, we are.
But I would
Almost 80 straight days.
and I still would have let you go. But I was planning on the comeback.
What do you have?
Talk about what's coming up at the
Top of the hour?
Terry Hill and Alec DeConza, kind of the rookie and the veteran. And we've had, over the years in this season as well, some of the Saratoga special interns in. But I thought it'd be fun as we'll have the young guy and the veteran from the Saratoga special. So they'll kick things off. But then Matt Kater from Adelphi Racing Club, I mentioned that earlier. He'll come in. They have some horses entered over the weekend, including down in Monmouth in a little stakes race. So we'll talk about that in the racing club as well. And then Jim and Tina Bond will join us. We watch them and wave at them every morning as they drive by with their horses, and always like to invite them in to talk a little bit. I met them over at the track the other day, and they talked about how popular the breakfast bus trips to their farm have been. And so we'll talk a little bit about that as well. So that's all come up at 10 o'clock. Otherwise, coming up at 2:52 scheduled. It is race number 4, the Saranac Grade 3 event, $175,000, 8.5 furlongs on the grass.
And when I was getting it, I think it's like the 120th running.
This
is one of the oldest.
Yeah.
And I know it gets swept under the rug, etc., for many reasons. And even more importantly, somehow the greatest turf horse I've ever seen, Manila, got beat in the Saranac at a mile when it was at Belmont. 5-1 for me. 7 in the main body here. Activist investing. A Kingman. We're going a little bit farther than a mile, but that'll be okay for the second start of the year, coming off the allowance victory on the inner. One of the rare start at the top of the stretch. For a second, Carl Spackler, who I loved in the Hall of Fame. The race goes through him. He was almost 2.5 to 1 in the Hall of Fame. He's odds on here, and that's why he's in my second place. I know to maybe some of our casual viewers that might be inverted, but that's how I play the game, taking Candy for third. 5-2-1, and I think it's a very intriguing Saranac.
I also like Carl Spackler quite a bit last time. Going back to the maiden breaker, it was interesting. I had Mike Welch in here the other day, and we were kind of previewing this race. Of course, he's based on a Gulfstream. He said the maiden start might have been even better. The debut effort where the horse finished a close-up second at Farbridge, which turned out to be nice. But the race where the horse broke the maiden, to me, kind of announced that he would be a player on this 3-year-old turf scene. Now, given that, I was willing last time to draw a line through the American turf and expect a rebound, and we got it in the Hall of Fame. And because of that, I think he has moved to the head of the discussion for that subdivision. I like the 3-year-olds on the turf, and I think this is going to be another one where he is going to be very tough today. But if you are looking for an alternative, I agree. Activist Investing looked very good in the seasonal debut. Tri-Stakes Company for Chad and Klarovich, and I think this is the perfect spot and perfect time to take your shot in Stakes Company off of that nice 2023 debut effort. And then Lost Start for me in the third spot. Third start back this season. Tries to turf for Todd Fletcher, and I just thought maybe a little bit intriguing with that move in here. In the fourth, the Saranac, 2-5, 7-4.
You know, it's interesting to me from a wagering standpoint. I'm guessing that Carl Spackler they didn't want it later in the card. I don't think he's that big a horse he should be. I don't know. Maybe he'll be 3-5 or something. I don't know.
Yeah, to tell you the truth, I can't figure out how they do some of these moves races these days.
All right.
But I think you're right. I mean, making it this early, you would guess that probably is, but some of them are head scratchers to me.
We're going to call these races from now on the Seth Merrow Invitational. These 1 mile races, 2-year-olds. Maiden special weight.
5, 6, 8, 9. I put Locked on top. Just master of the obvious here. Debut effort I thought was okay. The lone racing sibling, Mega Moon, took 5 starts to win, but had a first, a second, and a third in those 5 starts. But they paid a lot of money for this horse. It's by Gun Runner. Now has some experience under the belt. So I'll land there. Second slot, we'll take a look at Drum Roll, Please. Also coming in with a start under the belt for Brad Cox. A little bit of breeding there. That August 19th workout may tip their hand as the horse that is going to be very intriguing in here for Al Gold and Brad Cox. Joe Rosario on board. And the 5-1, given that workout, the 5-1 looks attractive. Right to Vote. It's a first-time starter from Chad and Klarovich. Paid a couple $100,000, but with this team, I think is quite potent in here and resilience in the third spot. There's another one, Lone Racing Sibling in the fourth spot. In the Lone Racing Sibling for this one was called Cloud Forest. At this point in the career, no wins in 7 starts, but does have 3 seconds and ran an okay second in debut. So I thought there was a little bit of breeding there. And at 8-1 with Insta Mischief on top, Irad on board. I wouldn't argue anybody off resilience either. So for me, 5, 6, 8, and 9.
Boy, yeah, 6, 9, 5 for me. What I find intriguing is at the par for this, which is amazing that they have one for 2-year-olds going a mile at Saratoga. And so many races, we have the NA up there, but they have 80. Well, Locked ran an 81 on debut. And, according to the comment, there's, a trip was involved. So if you think Locke's going to run like an 84 or an 86 today, I mean, that gets it done at probably a short price. But Drum Roll, Please, in the slop on debut, I just kind of take that in the mode of practice. I mean, they might not have been intending it to be practice at double-digit odds, but I'm going forward today, going a mile. And I put Resilience, a first-timer out of Into Mischief, splitting who I think, even though Drum Roll Please is 5-1 and Locked is 6-5, I think they're going to be 2 of the heavier bet ones. And I split it with the Bill Mott Firster with Irad Resilience. The Wine Gods with Irad 6-9-5. I think Set the Race is more interesting than just Locked at 6-5 and move on.
If he runs back to that first effort, but like you always see, you never know. The second start can always, it's. And
I'm going to tell you something. If he I'm not so sure if he matches it with the 81, he's down the road. That's my thing.
To me, I think the 81 probably.
Right.
But will we get the 81?
Yeah, I'm thinking no.
This is a big question.
No.
Sixth race today, State Bred Made Specials going 3/4 of a mile.
3-5-8. Horatio de Paz. I mean, we covered this earlier. This runners makes the second start. The nearly 14-1 is gone. Hopefully the winner's circle is in sight. For second, number 5, Miss Maximus goes out for Brad Cox. And I said 2 days ago, I think, anecdotally, I think last year Brad was front loaded at the meet. I think he was quiet the first half of this meet and now is starting to really rev up. And then Unicorn Cake for Jeremiah is my third pick. 3, 5, 8.
I have it 5, 3, 8, and 2. I put Maximus on top for Brad Cox. Another one with a lone racing sibling out there, but that was Virtual Reality that won the career debut for Chad and Klarovich. So I thought there was some win early here with the breeding. As you say, Brad Cox now going well. Nice little workout coming into this. I'll tilt in that direction. Focus Pocus in the second spot. Off a decent little debut that ran second. The winner came back to win in the next start as well. So I thought that was flattering for a Focus Pocus. Unicorn Cake, a little bit of breeding for the Jeremiah Engelhardt trainee. The workouts seem okay, and the workouts were maybe more attractive to me than necessarily the breeding. Oh, a little bit there, but again, the workouts look pretty steady and probably indicate the horse is interesting. And then I'll mention on the fourth spot, My Kind Mischief. And I mentioned this one because local ownership, Celtic Magic, our friend Dana and Celtic Magic, and a lot of other friends, partners in here, and they were very happy with the second place finish a little earlier in the meet, as they should have been. It was a very nice performance, and now this one comes back for Carlos Martin, so we'll see what My Kind of Mischief can do today. But again, always rooting for the locals, and I have that one right in the bottom of the mix. 5, 3, 8, and 2.
All right, we'll take a quick break. When we come back, the late pick 4.
come on.
I want sales reports on my desk by Monday.
Oops, my bad.
Love racing? RTN brings you every live simulcast on your home television, plus live video streaming and race replays on your PC and mobile devices. To order, visit rtn.tv. RTN, a breed apart.
A day at the track isn't complete without a night at the Horseshoe. Great food, hot music, and cold drinks. So why go downtown when all the action's just across from the track? The Horseshoe Inn at the corner of Nelson and Gridley.
Birdstone is an outside front. They're coming down to the finish. Can Smarty Jones hold on? Here comes Birdstone. Birdstone surges past. Birdstone wins the Belmont Stakes.
But here comes High Chaparral. High Chaparral, the defending champ, to take it to Falbrough. These two arch rivals head to head with Joe Hart bearing down on them. It's going to be a 3-horse photo finish to the turn. Here's the wire. Photo finish.
And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, up to the 7th race. Hard to believe. It's hard to believe how gorgeous it is out. But we marched through Labor Day weekend. As I don't think it's the 30th one, but I think maybe 28th. We're getting really close to 30 years running.
To Labor Day.
I mean, boy, talk about time flies when.
I will admit, it seems like it does fit into the Saratoga schedule. I kind of like it that they go to Labor Day, and you alluded to it when you mentioned it earlier. I think it's a nice week for the locals. You come.
It is a race for locals,
relax.
but I would say if you walked like yesterday, the patio terrace, all the chairs were up on the table. It's not.
That was funny.
Not a very appetizing look.
That was a little funny. I must admit.
All right, I'm glad you feel the same way because I saw that. I was like,
yeah.
Wow. Mile 16 on the inner, race 7.
874 and the one entry, expand the map on top. Chad Brown and Klarovich runner. Hasn't been seen since June. I just looked and you looked at certainly better races, but most of them, not the last race necessarily, but they've had some time off since then. But most of the races on the page, I think have at least a little bit of an edge on this bunch. So I'll tilt slightly in that direction. Second slot, I'm So Sorry, going out for Mike Maker. Another one that the last effort is when you kind of have to draw a line through, but the races a little further down the page seem to indicate this horse could be a player in here. One thing I'm concerned with, a lot of times they start to go those marathon distances. They lose a little bit of their edge. This one in the last 3, mile and 3/8, mile and a half. Today, a mile and a 16th. So we'll see if this one, maybe needs a start at a shorter distance to get that edge back. But I'll put this one in the mix on some of the numbers just a little bit further down the page. And fairly lightly raced, number 4, Root Cause, also going out for Chad Brown. Another one that hasn't been seen since June, but this one, the last effort was pretty good and off a little bit of a layoff and being lightly raced. I don't think it's out of the question that we'll get a move forward, and move forward is going to put Root Cause right in the thick of things, I think. 874 and the one entry.
I'm in the same ballpark. I wanted the 1 in here. Might have made a mistake there, but the entry might be just as valuable. But Javier Castellano on the mount back after getting beat in an off-the-turfer. And I will say, Seth, I think much of what we were talking about the other day, I've heard some angst going the other way, that these horses staying in the off-the-turfers put their connections in a bad spot to hold their line in the turf race, because we were right that if you run in the race, you do hold your spot. But now the other side of the coin is they're not wanting to be so-called forced into running that because they don't think the race will come back and they'd be on the outside looking in. I think there's a very interesting discussion on that. And Quarles stayed in. So he gets to come back in this spot and apparently got around the racetrack okay enough, not for the beaten favorites. For a second, Root Cause. I should say, I like to always point out, the 1 is scheduled to break in the number 3 post position. The 4, Root Cause, right next door for Chad, making the first start since a beaten favorite in June. And for third, the outside of the main body, number 8, Expand the Map, coming out of a June race also. But 1, 4, 8 for me.
All right. 8th race this afternoon. We are looking at conditional claimers, $25,000 tags, non-winners, 2 lifetime. The condition, 7 furlongs is the trip.
482 for me. Fight Fiercely. that's sort of redundant. But no, I mean, it's is my top pick for Rudy, who has clearly turned 2022 on its head off a $25,000 claim. Shortens up after trying the mile. For second forced ranking. 2 starts in 2021 and comes back for a tag. I didn't have the guts to put the horse on top, but I'm not throwing it out. The layoff doesn't matter to me. I mean, I don't care at all. 2 years, 3 years in this hands, I do not care. And for third, and I should say neither the layoff nor the dump. None of those things, I don't care. And then American Law for third. I won't put the horse on top, but it's in the mix.
I put the horse on top. And I will admit both of those really concerned me. But I'm kind of with you with the connections.
Doesn't
it's
matter.
like, so this horse probably has. It's one of those wins by city block or the opposite. But comes back first time gelding. But yeah, been off a long time and. Again, they come back for 25. If you think you have something, do you come back for 25? But they've made this move and done it successfully, and it hasn't worked out. But I just thought, I'll tilt in that direction, but I will note all the cons as well as the pros. American Law in the second spot. This one's getting some class relief as well, but I think this is more acceptable and non-worrisome class relief for the Gargan trainee. And the numbers this one has tossed a little further down the page are very competitive here. And Morning Cup in the third spot. This one, again, this one's a drop off the last start, but this is a completely understandable drop. They claimed the horse for $30,000. They tried starter allowance on the turf last time. It didn't work out. They get back to the dirt, and they're just dropping down to what looks like probably the more suitable level for Morning Cup. So that actually might be the one to beat on kind of the class question marks we're looking at here. For me in the 8th, 8, 2, 1, and 4.
You know, we have a couple of minutes here. Before we go to break, our final break, what intrigues me is that's another example where I really think the horizontal players, especially if, I don't think anybody has an unlimited bankroll. I mean, do you just handicap it? You take that horse along and you pay the price for selecting them? Because if that's in the mix, how do you confidently go one way or the other? Or do you just...
I don't think you could single one like that because
I'm just saying, say you like 2 other horses in a vacuum, and then, but you just have to add him to the mix and move on.
Yeah, I think as I say, I wouldn't single him, but I think you have to have him on because, again, these are the kind you look at, and they can win by 10 or they can run 4th. It's just, over the years, that's been the kind of the case. So I definitely think you have to have them in the mix, but I'm not arguing with anybody who's looking another direction.
And I wonder how, that must not be a singular thing. And then it really becomes about bankroll. I mean, where you just are like, there's so many defensive positions, I guess you'll call it, where you don't genuinely like the horse. Like if I don't like a horse to win a race, I don't put him in the first spot. He might get second and third, but so are a lot of others. But I don't know. I always wondered, do you make a stand against him? Because
and I'm sure some people do have that strategy. Some people are saying, hey, this horse might take a lot of money, but with the cons that are working there, I'm going to shop around a little bit.
That would be me. I know. I mean, it's like the scorpion and the fly. I can't outrun my DNA. I would definitely be like, I'll let him beat me. Yeah. I mean, just go ahead.
People definitely have their, the pick bets. There are all kinds of different strategies. I can see that as a completely legitimate one. I'll also mention in this race, maybe worth taking a look at the number 9 Improper, because it looks like the jock 10-pound apprentice is getting the first ride of his career. Rudy legging him up in here. So always interesting to see and particularly getting the first race of your career at Saratoga. We'll see how it works out. But it might be fun. If there was an upset there, that would be a great way to kick off the career for Mr. Torres or Miss Torres. I don't know, but we shall see. Horse number 9 Improper with the 10-pound bug.
Well, it's always intriguing. I kind of wonder, especially coming out of the Rudy barn, if maybe said person is working horses in the morning and they're like, well, listen, let me give you a shot. Yeah. We'll take our final break. When we come back, the late Daily Double.
For more than 4 generations, Bruce Cerrone and his family have continued the 101-year tradition of delighting their local following and faithful summer crowd with the finest authentic Italian recipes. Classic Italian dishes made with the freshest ingredients, served in a home-like setting. Some things have changed in the last 101 years, but not Pinnell's commitment to the finest in Italian cuisine. Pinnell's Italian Restaurant, a Saratoga tradition since 1922. 284 Jefferson Street, just minutes from the track.
The only thing better than watching the races is watching your own racehorse. With nearly 20 years experience in the racing industry, Bonaventure Stables' share-based ownership program enables everyday fans to become part owner of a thoroughbred for far less than you might think, with all the ownership perks at Saratoga, Belmont, Aqueduct, and other great tracks. Experience the thrill and lifestyle of owning your own thoroughbred racehorse. Learn more at bonaventurestables.com.
And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Morning just gets nicer and nicer. Just a quick note, because it was on about it's Brian Torres. We pretty sure getting the first United States mount for Rudy. Looked him up. 12 starts down. Seth was saying Puerto Rico. Most recent one was May 12th. So you kind of figure came to
a little
United
experience, though.
States, and so he's been around the Oval. And now he'll get his United States debut. The 9th, not to feature today, State Breds dashing 5.5 on the turf.
Again, like you mentioned, the locals, Eddie F's Racing has bar 14 in here, the number 4 horse. I didn't use that one, but last time out up the Finger Lakes, decent little third. But I have it 8, 10, 9, and 1. I'm going to put Disarmed on top. Comes in good form. Last 3 starts have been on the turf, a couple of wins and a second-place finish. So, again, in absolutely good form for Rudy. Joel Rosario on board, and he's been on board for all 3 of those recent starts. St. Selby in the second spot. This horse off the last effort is certainly very, very playable in here. That said, the last effort was when the horse was dropped in for a 25 tag, the lowest level showing up on the page. So, class-wise, I think is still maybe a question mark. And then Winner's Lap, who ran decently in the comebacker last time, may benefit from that and be a little fitter today. So for me, 8, 10, 9, and 1.
I have the 9 on top. Winners left outside here, making the second start since winter. This is the third Horatio de Paz horse I've picked today, probably only because of the seat that I'm sitting in. I mean, it is, I'm a stats nut, I think would be fair to say. And in horse racing with trainers, less so than I think with jockeys, but I mean, it's really a thing. You had Mark Henning in here the other day, and he was talking about some great stuff about getting the race you need, etc. Well, this year it's kind of worked out for Mark. His horses were ready, and he made the distinction between I really want to go 7. We as handicappers might sometimes think sprints are sprints, but it's not to the individual, and it's a real thing. But I always say you're allowed to ask more questions if the price is better. And Winner's Lap is not going to be the chalk in here. I like the comeback race. That was on opening day. Plenty of time to come to come back, and maybe the regression will be mitigated. Icy Flavor making only the 4th career start. First one since Del Mar, first start of this year. And then King Moon Racer for George Weaver, who had, obviously for personal reasons, a dramatically different 2022 summer. And then this year, his barn has been really good from the get-go, and he has continued it through, which is great to see. 9, 1, 3 in the 9th.
Yeah, kicked off the summer in fine fashion with the win over in Royal Ascot as well. With his
go
wife over there.
crazy.
So, yeah,
go crazy.
And I will totally agree with your thoughts there. And there was one summer where I kept banging my head against the wall and this is probably going back 15 years at least, maybe longer, where there was a prominent trainer who just was on an offer at the meet, and I kept thinking, well, this is going to be the tournament. But when the barn is cold, the barn is cold, and that drilled it into me that summer. But I will note, speaking of that, after the neighborly golf cart ride a couple days ago, Rob Falcone off the duck yesterday, and Robertino Diodoro got off the duck yesterday as well.
Yes, one beat me and one helped me, so that's about fair in the parameters. I mean, you see.
Yeah, I walked down in a winner circle. I said to Rob, "Yeah, the neighborly golf cart ride, good karma."
I'm not into those types of things, but that would be the closest to getting into the room of being. I would believe it's something like that. I'll tell you just a quick one. There was a jockey. It's not important. The name is. You can look it up, but I don't think he made the 0 for 100, but my friend and I, for about 4 years, you would know him. It's Eddie F's brother. We came to the track every single day he came every single day for 40 years. But about 5 years in a row, we watched races almost all together, etc. There was this jock that was like 0 for 70. And we're like, a jockey has to win, don't they? I mean, and he didn't get to 100, but I think he took the bagel, and I think it was like 94, 95. We were just like, doesn't he have to win one? But, if you doubled your bet every time on him, you'll never make that money back. But unbelievable. You're right, though. With trainers, though, I'm more stuck in you're in a bad rut. Now, like David Donk's only got put up. He has only one win, I think, this meeting. It was a put up. But if he's on a 25-1 shot, I don't like it. But if he's 3-1, no.
Yeah. 10th and final on this Friday afternoon. Conditional claimers going the 1.5 turn mile.
I took a flyer here. 749. Wayne Potts, back in New York, training horses, has this one in the barn. My thought was that this horse throwing out the 5.5 furlong turf race has shown speed in dirt races. And what I have liked since the beginning of these 1 mile races is less post position draw than running style. And when I saw Javier yesterday, now I didn't expect the long shot to duel me for the first 3 furlongs, but I mean, like I said, the head on, I wish he would stay like 5 more seconds, but I saw he understood what I thought was the best path to trying to win the race. And I think it is. And I'm expecting, so 749, excess demand, who's 12-1 and will be all of that. Mr. Gomez is going to have a positive ROI in this meet, isn't he?
Probably.
I think Mr. Torres is also. But I think we're going to be all at 12-1 or better. The speed, use it. If we're not good enough, fine. For second, Inspector, first off the claim for $25,000. Hasn't run since the mile in July. And Deputy Connect on the outside. I mean, Flojo is going to, in my opinion, you're going to have to go. I think you want to be forwardly placed in these mile races. Yeah. And I don't know what the track will be like today. 2 days ago, we had the rain. It was sealed, and I kind of thought I liked what I knew, and I thought there'd be a little lingering the next day. But now we've had like 48 hours of perfect weather.
Yeah, absolutely. 10, 9, 5, and 3 for me. I went with Justice Department. We talked about the precipitous drop before. So there's a pro and a con here. Turf to dirt with the precipitous drop. The turf race was not good. So has this horse gone in the wrong direction? Part of this, though, the pro on this is Klarovich has plenty of horses. And so we're at the end of the meet. And it's kind of, you can van this horse somewhere. You take it. We've got plenty of
no room at the inn.
Yeah, we have plenty more to fill the stalls, and so part of that plays into it. So Justice Department on top, but again, that the drop is a concern. Deputy Connect in the second spot steps out of a starter allowance company, so another one that's getting a class move that can propel the horse forward, or maybe it's just indicating this horse isn't that much, and they've realized it off the last effort. But I'll go with kind of the the former. And then Brooklyn Diamonds in the third spot, claimed and drops. Another class move that really raises some question marks, but it is Linda Rice with a Kentucky claim. We'll see how it works out. But don't forget, Linda Rice is now vying for, in very tight coming into today, it's still one, same as yesterday. Chad Brown 30, Linda Rice 29. So some of these drops might play into that a little bit. In the 10th, I have a 10, 9, 5, and 3.
Well, it's a gorgeous day. I said it before. If you can get in at least 5 races, I think it's worth your time. It's beautiful out there. There's plenty of room. I'm interested to see how the Treehouse did yesterday, because I think that is a fantastic dish. You remember?
There was people definitely up there sitting out on the deck.
The day we did the trial run show, we both walked over. I think you did Steve Bick's show.
Yeah.
We wish Tina the best. We'll find
Absolutely.
out more about that. And there was, as there is per usual about Saratoga, when something new comes, there's the automatic naysayers. I was like, what are you kidding me? This is like the greatest thing ever.
Automatically, that was
the
like,
view,
oh, it's the home
it looked
run.
great. The architecture was beautiful. I'm like, I'm all in. What do you mean, nay? It's like, and if I was a casual fan, it'd be stupendous to be out there with a cocktail, your friends looking down at the horses parading out on a day like today. So
yeah, and having been up there for lunch over the past couple of seasons, a couple of times, it is a really nice venue here on the track. And there's I think one more day where folks will have access to it. So
and I got to tell you, we've done the stretch I think 3 times this year, family wise,
that was a great addition too.
Tremendous. And I remember at the time people talking about that. I was like, as a guy who, my brother-in-law and myself particularly, like that apex of the turn where the video can be kind of hard. It was empty. 20.
Yeah.
Whatever number of days we raced, -4.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
it was like not a big deal.
And
so.
I will admit, I haven't talked to anybody who's tailgated, but that tailgate section has a nice crowd every day, and that looks like a good addition
that looks fun too.
Yeah. That's right on the first turn.
Yeah, so it's been great. It's great today. Come on up. There's only 4 more days of racing. I'm swinging for the fences. He stays. I go, ladies and gentlemen. Have a great Friday.
You've been watching the Handicappers Report. The Handicappers Report has been brought to you by Thorough Pace, premium racing analytics, allowing bettors to identify races with extreme pace scenarios in a matter of seconds. Capital OTB's mobile wagering platform. Bet any place, anytime with Capital OTB's mobile wagering platform. And CapitalOTBBet.com, the premier wagering site in New York State.